Okay, hello there.
Wait.
Welcome back to 407. I apologize for the mask. This is not a backdrop. This is the real thing, okay? Familiarity. I am recording on two cameras here. And anyway, this is me being compliant with Kalamazoo Public Schools rule that if you're in the building at all, it has to be at a set time, and you have to fill out forms and paperwork, and you have to wear the gloves, and you have to wear a mask. And so this is me being compliant, okay? This is going to be a short video. The first thing I want to do, you should have watched an assembly language, a short assembly language video, and you should already be well on your way to doing those assembly language problems, having those done. But I wanted to just throw in a reminder there, take advantage of that instead of making two videos. The sheet that you should have, at least an electronic version of, looks like this. Okay. The assembly language sheet has a list of commands. There's just a few things I want to remind you of. You want to make sure you picked up on. One of them is that the short commands, most of them are fairly easy. Add, sub is subtract, mult is multiply. Let me say one thing about division. Division is integer division, okay? So if you divide something with the div command and you store it, you're doing the work in the accumulator, the ACC. Ooh, this is tough. Sorry, I'm trying to get used to this style of teaching here. That style being quarantine style. Anyway, if you do division and you get a fractional answer, like 1.5 or 5.5 or 5.3 or 5.9, you have to truncate. It's integer division, so you have to truncate the fractional part, the decimal part. And so that's one reminder. Another is that the arithmetic in assembly language, at least the actual assembly language, is modulo a million, meaning it's going to roll over after it gets to 999, 999. That's the highest, 999, 999. Instead of going to a million, since it's modulo a million, it will roll over to 0. Okay, so if you had 1,000,006, then it would store the answer as 6. Okay. The next reminder for assembly language is just whenever you come back to it, you've been away from it for a while, the two areas that you really have to remind yourself of what's going on is, first there's the load and the store commands. And they're very similar, but they're in opposite directions. Okay? You have this area called the ACC. Maybe I need a darker pen for that. The ACC, that's our accumulator. That's it's kind of like our CPU, where all the action takes place. All the arithmetic, all the operations that are happening happen there. The ACC, do I really draw like that in class? Looks terrible on the video. Anyway, if you are using the load command, that is going from one of the storage areas, which they'll call LOC. That's usually one of your variables. And they're loading something into the ACC. That's the direction for load. But if you're using the store command, then whatever that variable is, let's just call it variable C. Okay, the store command is going to take whatever's in the ACC, let's call it -5, and store it in the specified location, the specified variable. So that's, store goes from the ACC to whatever variable it's storing it in, and load goes from the variable or whatever into the LOC, if you will, the location where that value is being stored into the accumulator, the ACC. So that's one of the things you have to review. The other is those branching commands, those doggone branching commands. You have BU BL, BE, and BG. Okay, the branching commands. So you branch unconditional is that first one. That is a go-to statement, which when you're using higher level programming languages, go-to should always be avoid. You should be using control structures instead. But when you're programming in any kind of assembly language, go-tos are fine, okay? And that's what the branch unconditional is. There's no condition on it. You just go to wherever it tells you to branch. The other three branching conditions, branching commands, those are like if statements, okay? And what they're saying is, depending on what's in the ACC, let's say we've got a -3 in the ACC. See me there? A -3 in the ACC. Well, BL is branch if and only if the value in the AC is less than 0. Okay? So that's branch less than. And so the branch, the BL, it would consider -3 in the ACC as true, so it would do the branching, otherwise it would ignore it and just go to whatever the next command is. Okay? BE means branch if the value in the ACC is 0. So if it's -3, it's not going to do anything, but if it's a 0, it will. It will branch to wherever it's being told to branch to in the program. And then BG, you can probably guess, is the only one left. That's the conditional that says if the value is greater than, the value in the ACC is greater than 0, then go ahead and branch, otherwise ignore it. Okay? So that's the review. Those are the main, the main things you need to know about assembly language. And if you're wondering what the DCs are, that's like declaring variables. Beyond that, I'm not sure what else I need to remind you of that wasn't already covered in the video that you watched, but I'm sure you'll let me know. Okay? I'm going to pause here, take a break, and pause and take a break.
Okay.
Pause.